Oh man, this is the biggest opportunity of my career.
I think it'll be tougher for Canelo to win a decision. I do.
September 13th, we want to see who's the best.
Look at what Bud Crawford is up against. Very difficult circumstances.
Maybe this is the last fight for Crawford.
The boxing world is electric as Terence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez finally collide in one of the biggest fights in modern history. The grand arrival was nothing short of fireworks, with Crawford and Canelo making bold statements, fans roaring, and analysts split right down the middle. This isn't just a fight, it's a battle for history, legacy, and the pound-for-pound crown. At the grand arrival, Crawford wasted no time firing shots at Canelo's fans, warning them they'd be crying after the fight. He then turned his focus directly on Canelo, vowing to punish him inside the ring with relentless aggression. It was a moment that set the tone for Fight Week, proving Crawford came not just to compete, but to conquer.
And when they say you're gonna run, what do you have to tell them? I already said it before. Before we got here, I said, I'm gonna run upside his head. So he's gonna run, but upside Canelo's head, according to everybody.
Crawford made it clear that his own focus is on creating history. No male boxer has ever been crowned undisputed champion 3 times, and having already achieved it twice, he now aims to raise the bar even higher. For him, this fight isn't just about handing Canelo another loss, it's about becoming the first ever 3-time undisputed champion.
Becoming 3-time undisputed.
Yeah.
You know, doing something that's never been done before. You know, I think that'll be bigger because when you look at the landscape of apples to apples, Canelo's been beat before. There's never been a man boxer to become 3-time undisputed champion. I was the first to become 2-time undisputed, you know. Now I'm looking to become the first to be 3-time.
At the same time, Crawford reflected on the journey that brought him here. He explained that he always believed in his own greatness, but what he needed was the right stage to prove it. Now, with history and legacy directly in front of him, he's determined to rise to the occasion, just as the great champions of the past once did.
History stands in front of me, you know, and legacy. All the great fighters, you know, rose in times like this, and I'm looking forward to doing the same.
When was the first time that you realized that you were great?
When I first started, you know. I always had that belief that I was great. You know, I just needed the opportunity.
He admitted this is the biggest opportunity of his career. Beating Canelo would make him the first ever 3-division undisputed champion, and doing it against someone who has dominated at super middleweight makes the challenge even greater. For Crawford, this fight isn't just massive, it's the biggest event in boxing today.
Oh man, this is the biggest opportunity of my career, you know, and this is the opportunity to become, you know, the first 3-weight world champion undisputed. You know, don't get no bigger than that, especially fighting a guy like Canelo, who's, you know, been undefeated in this weight class, who's, you know, railroaded everybody that stepped in front of him in this weight class. So this is a massive fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing. And I'm looking forward to it.
Still, Crawford admitted he doesn't know exactly how the fight will unfold since he's never shared the ring with Canelo, but he made it clear he's strong and ready. He said that's why they fight, to find out the truth once they step inside the ring.
You know what I mean? About stopping them, but, you know, I'm strong. You know, I never been in the ring with Canelo, so I can't speak on him, but you know, that's why we fight the fight that we fight, so we can figure it out.
Crawford's trainer, Bomac, explained that the key difference between the two fighters is ring IQ. While Canelo has fought the same style for years, Crawford can switch strategies mid-fight. That adaptability, Bomac believes, will give Bud the edge in this chess match.
I think the difference is the IQ. Because if you look at Canelo, he's been fighting a certain way for a certain amount of years. Look at Bud, he's been fighting. He'll change his style in the midst of the fight. I think the IQ is just going to get style.
On the other side, Canelo himself admitted this is one of the biggest fights of his career, especially with the magnitude of the stadium event. He acknowledged that 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters of this generation are finally colliding, and the result will define who truly stands at the top.
Is this the biggest fight of your career?
Oh, it's one of the biggest, for sure. You have 2 of the best fighters, pound-for-pound fighters, fighting each other, so Saturday, September 13th, we want to see who's the best.
When asked about Crawford's new physique, Canelo brushed it off, saying muscles don't matter. He's faced bigger men before. For him, it just means Crawford trained hard, which only makes the fight more exciting.
Terence Crawford, with his new physique, the big muscles, what was your immediate reaction?
Nothing. You know, muscles for me, it doesn't mean anything. No, I fought before with bigger guys and it means nothing. But you know, when I saw that, you realize he make a good training camp, and that made me happy because it's gonna be a good fight.
According to Turki Alalshik, he called this the fight of the century because of its massive stakes. Canelo is boxing's biggest star, while Crawford has the chance to become a 3-time undisputed champion. For Crawford, possibly nearing the end of his career, the fight carries global importance and added pressure on Canelo not to lose to a smaller fighter moving up in weight.
This kind of fight, special Canelo Crawford, I want to explain it to you exactly why it is important and the fight of the century. Canelo is the biggest name in boxing now, and Crawford undefeated and have the chance to be undisputed for the 3rd time. Maybe this is the last fight for Crawford, and for Canelo, it's mean a lot for his fan in North America and South America and all the world. He doesn't want to get beating from guy getting up 2-3 weight. For that, this kind of fight, if you say it from 1 year, a lot of people will not believe it.
Moreover, Turki Alalshik admitted he has a close relationship with Crawford, but has also grown very close to Canelo in recent months. For the first time, he placed himself in the middle, splitting his opinion instead of favoring one side. This shows just how big and balanced the fight is, even for someone deeply connected to both fighters.
I want to tell you honestly, I have a close relationship with Crawford, but in the last 6 months, 7 months, I get very close to Canelo. And actually, sometimes not sometimes, all the times, I split my opinion and my position. My position in the middle, and the first time ever, my opinion in the middle now.
Backing him up, Eddie Reynoso assured fans that Canelo is still operating at the highest level. He promised this would be the best version of Canelo we've seen in his 20-year career, and boldly predicted a knockout victory on Saturday night.
He still has it, and Saturday we're gonna show it by knockout. This is the best Canelo we're gonna see in 20 years of career, and we're gonna show it on Saturday.
However, analyst Luke Thomas stressed that Crawford is stepping into tough circumstances against Canelo. He noted the size and weight challenges for Crawford. In his view, Canelo should be expected to win.
That's a tough thing to answer. Like, look at what Bud Crawford is up against. Very difficult circumstances. So,
No doubt.
Canelo should win this fight. He should win this fight.
Moreover, Thomas explained that if Canelo and Crawford were naturally the same size, he'd pick Crawford every single time because he looked at him as the more skilled boxer. However, the weight difference changes everything. Canelo's proven power at higher divisions and his granite chin make him a much tougher challenge. In Thomas's view, skill favors Crawford, but size and durability lean toward Canelo.
If they were naturally the same size, I would pick Bud 10 times out of 10. I think he's a much more skilled boxer than Canelo, even though Canelo was obviously in his prime, very, very skilled. But that weight difference, and again, one more time, it's not just like what kind of power Canelo can unleash, and we know he's got dynamite power. His power carries up another weight class beyond him. Not fully, but it hasn't, against the sort of an over-the-hill Kovalev. But the issue for me is, BC, dude, Canelo has a fucking rock chin.
Yep.
Move on, the Wade concept agreed, saying Crawford's skills and all-around ability make him dangerous. But he doesn't expect Canelo to get seriously hurt. Instead, he expected Canelo's pressure and heavy shots to eventually wear Bud down. A knockout seems more likely than a decision for Canelo.
If Canelo is not hurt, which I don't expect him to be, and Canelo is still trying to find that opening and he's still throwing hard punches, eventually the levee will break. And that's why I lean more toward a Canelo knockout, because it'll be, we've talked about a 50-50 fight. I think it'll be tougher Canelo to win a decision. I do. Just because of the skills and the ability and the well-roundedness of Terence Crawford.
Furthermore, Carl Froch explained that for Canelo to win, he suggested that he needs to use his natural size, strength, and weight advantage to physically bully Crawford and keep him under pressure. He highlighted Canelo's high work rate, sharp combinations, strong jab, and defensive mastery, saying Canelo simply does everything at an exceptional level.
But Canelo, I'm talking about, how does he win? And I think use his size, his strength, and his weight advantage, his natural weight advantage, to sort of bully Crawford around and push him back and put him under pressure, if indeed he can. And I just think that his natural ability, he's got high work rate, Canelo. He throws combination punches, he's great with a jab, he's defensive, he's a masterclass in it. He does everything really, really well, exceptionally well.
Meanwhile, Steve Collins broke it down by saying he's a fan of Canelo's style, but acknowledges Crawford is dangerous. He warned that if Canelo underestimates Crawford, it could backfire, though he personally doesn't believe Canelo will make that mistake. In the end, he believed both fighters could beat each other.
I'm a fan of Canelo. I love his style. I like how he fights. I like everything about him, his boxing. Crawford is a very good fighter. I don't believe Canelo is underestimating him because he's too long in the tooth. He's been around the game. He's too wise and too successful to underestimate anybody. But also in saying that, Canelo's been around a long time. He's got a lot of hard fights under his belt, and I wonder, is every fight, next fight is going to be his last fight? Has Canelo still got it in the tank? We don't know. We know in the night Crawford, because he's good enough to beat him.
Jim Gray also shared his thoughts. Crawford is well prepared, but there's always the danger of an upset. He pointed to Canelo's loss against Bivol as proof that moving up in weight is always risky. No matter the predictions, this fight is far from certain.
Well, he seems to be prepared and ready for it, and yes, there is that danger. Look at what happened when Canelo moved up in weight against Bivol. So, there's a lot of examples, and there's examples the other way as well. So, it's hard to predict what is going to happen in a fight. That is why they fight.
Moreover, Max Kellerman shared his perspective with the crowd that Canelo fully understands the challenge isn't taking Crawford lightly. He pointed out that while some fighters relax against smaller opponents, Canelo is making sure he's fully prepared. With both men having worn the pound-for-pound crown, this truly is a clash of titans.
Canelo, when you talk to him about Terence Crawford, he knows what he's in with. A lot of times, fighters who take smaller fighters, people think they're just doing it for the bag, right? And they kind of take it easy. They don't get as up in training for them as they should, and they can get upset. Canelo is sparring with Boots Ennis getting ready for this fight. He's not falling into that trap because he knows what he's in with. And these two fighters, Canelo and Crawford, were the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world consecutively.
According to Adam Smith, he noted that while Canelo has long been a global legend, while Crawford hasn't always received the same recognition from the wider sporting audience. He reminded fans that Crawford is a 4-division champion who defeated names like Ricky Burns, Kell Brook, and Amir Khan. For Smith, this fight finally gives Crawford the grand stage he deserves.
Maybe Terence Crawford hasn't had the respect, the dues from the wider sporting audience. The Canelo people know, he's been a legend for a long time, but Terence Crawford, a 4-division champion, he came over many years ago and beat Ricky Burns, and he's beaten Kell Brook, Amir Khan, so many of our fighters. But I think just in the boxing trade, obviously this is a huge fight. This is the fight of the year, once in a generation type, two superstars of the sport.
Adding to the anticipation, Gareth A. Davies explained that at first he leaned toward Crawford because of his skills, timing, and sharpness. But as fight week unfolded, he shifted to Canelo, predicting a cautious start, close early rounds, then Canelo landing big shots in the middle rounds. He believed Crawford would respond well, but ultimately Canelo's pressure and power would see him pull away to win.
I've got to say that I first of all went with Crawford. I thought his acuity and his skills and his his timing and all those things that we've seen, I went with Crawford. But as the weeks have gone on, I've gone back to Canelo, and I think it will be a feeling out process early on. Very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and in my view will win the fight.
Not everyone agreed. Steven Nelson defended Crawford, dismissing the weight narrative and insisting that Bud's adaptability makes him dangerous at any weight. He believed the size difference won't trouble Crawford at all.
Man, the way that they've been doing Bud since the beginning of his career. Man, the weight, this guy is big. It's always been that. It's always been the only, thing that they can point out. But they don't understand that Bud has 10 different ways he can win. That weight is not going to bother him, man. I'm telling you, he's been sparring us and bigger guys for years, and I punch hard as hell, so I ain't worried about that.
Veteran promoter Frank Warren admitted that while Crawford is a great fighter and very confident, the size difference is too much to ignore. He believed Canelo's natural strength at the higher weight would be the deciding factor. Based on the recent performance, he predicted Canelo's strength would be the deciding factor.
Well, my head says Canelo for the obvious reason. He's a bigger guy. Crawford's a good fighter. He's coming up. He's coming up a couple of weight divisions. He seems very confident.
Meanwhile, Crawford's preparation has been razor sharp. Lester Martinez, a sparring partner handpicked for his similarities to Canelo, revealed that Crawford personally asked him to be part of the camp, saying, "I need you." Martinez explained that experts also saw his role as crucial, further proving how seriously Crawford is taking this challenge.
Bueno, anteriormente ya formaba parte del equipo antes de que Terence me dijera que lo apoyaría con los sparring. Solo era de estar en el equipo, y creo, si no estoy mal, que mi estilo pues asemeja un poco o no al estilo del siguiente peleador, que es Canelo Alvarez. Entonces él dijo, te necesito, y sí, ya muchos decían, muchos comentaristas, grandes entrenadores, leyendas, Crawford necesita a Lester para que lo ayude con la pelea con Canelo. Entonces él mismo me lo dijo, te necesito.
Move towards Coach Boog. He admitted it's tough for him to pick a winner because he genuinely respects both fighters. He explained that each brings elite skill and serious power, making this a perfect matchup. Still, he warned that Crawford is a different monster who should never be underestimated. Boog added that the extra weight looks natural on Crawford, which only adds to the intrigue of this showdown.
Well, I don't know, because Terence could punch. It's definitely, if Earl can take that, then yeah, but I said just make no mistakes about it. The man got power, you know what I'm saying? So, and as far as this fight coming up with Canelo, it's another one, it's hard for me, but like I said, you can never count Terence out, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and say Canelo gonna beat him, because I just hope it be a good fight. Because I like I said, Canelo one of my favorites too, but I'm just happy to see this fight. They made this fight, because skill versus skill, man, and power. Both guys got power and skill. This is a perfect fight, you know what I'm saying? But it's hard for me to do it. I can't pick. It's hard for me to pick, but like I said, if people doubt Terence, please don't do that, man.
Meanwhile, Rolly Romero criticized the matchup, saying Canelo isn't taking the real risk by avoiding David Benavidez, while Crawford is the one moving up multiple weight divisions and putting it all on the line. He questioned why Canelo chose a naturally smaller opponent, but made it clear he hopes Crawford wins.
I hope Crawford wins. I think Canelo's just way bigger than Crawford, and you don't just move up 2 weight divisions to fight, Yeah. But no, the problem with this is who's taking the risk? Crawford. Why is Canelo not fighting David Benavidez? No, ask yourself that. Why is he fighting a 147, 154 pounder that was at 135, and he's not fighting David Benavidez?
Well,
the only one actually taking the risk is Crawford.
As fight night approaches, one thing is clear. This isn't just another main event. It's history in the making. Canelo Alvarez, the king of super middleweight, faces Terence Crawford, the man chasing an unprecedented third undisputed crown. For some, it's size versus skill. For others, it's experience versus adaptability. Every fan, every analyst, and every fighter seems split. And that's what makes this matchup so electric. Will Crawford shock the world and etch etch his name as the first ever 3-division undisputed champion? Or will Canelo prove that his power, experience, and chin are simply too much for even the sharpest technician to overcome? We'll find out soon enough. Until then, let us know in the comments, who are you picking, Canelo or Crawford? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more Fight Week updates, and hit the bell so you never miss the action.